session for our summer conference in the general track, and it's entitled Paperless Processing, E-Filing, and E-Processing, and it's going to be presented by the Santa Rosa Clerk's Office. So appreciate you all being here. You do have your evaluation forms, and you can fill those out at the end of the presentation and turn them into
Alex,
that will be helpful. I'm going to turn it over to Honorable Mary Johnson, Clerk of Court, Santa Rosa County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Campbell. I'm glad you called me. I was looking around for the room, and I know I see Walton County, Lake County, Gulf County, Liberty, Franklin, Manatee, Panelists, Okaloosa, and Indian River. Is there some other counties with us that I didn't list?
Leon.
Levy.
Brevard. Leon.
Orange.
Swan.
Did I get everybody?
Leon.
Swan.
I can't spell all of them. Leon Swan. Yeah, I spelled Swan.
Thank you. That's one of those.
I'm so glad y'all are here. We're very pleased and happy with the process we've got going on in Santa Rosa County. I'm not saying it's the best out there, but it's working wonders for us. We're thrilled with it, and I wished I could tell you I knew all the ins and outs, but that's why there's 3 people here, because I don't. And we're proud of the progress we've made over the past 4 or 5 months, and the judges seem to be very pleased as well. So I'm going to hush and give them the time they need to say the things they need to say. Is it Adair?
We'll do introductions. My name is Adair Cotton, and I work for Mary Johnson, Santa Rosa County. I am the Chief Deputy of Courts and IT.
I'm Jonathan Kirkland. I'm in the Clerk's IT division.
And I'm Laura Campbell, the Misdemeanor Supervisor.
She's loud. You can
Exactly. I'm not sure.
We'll get started. We decided to title our presentation, Go Green, the Path to Paperless Process. We took that from an article in one of the local papers on highlighting Ms. Johnson and her efforts in going green. The first step in all this process was a new case management system, or an upgrade to our existing case management system. We began by upgrading the case management system with Florida court clerks and comptrollers to Clerk in January of 2011. We were the second county in a consortium of about 35 or so to go live on this new system. To establish the data elements for the ePortal, we worked with the ePortal staff to load case and filing types in the portal along with account groups and docket entries used over the past year. We then massaged the data and eliminated any financial or docket entries used internally, because we didn't want to muck up the system for the attorneys who were looking at things by anything that they wouldn't use. We modeled the case and filing type categories with the SRS reporting categories for consistency. To begin our criminal e-filing, we met with the State Attorney and Public Defender's Office to categorize e-filing transactions through the portal for their ease of use.
Okay, now I get easy stuff. We're able to go over those. Okay, at this point, we contacted the State Attorney, the Public Defender, Regional Conflict Counsel, Families First Network, and we got them to provide us a list of attorneys. Tell us what attorneys in their office are going to be e-filing. We then created logins. We set up all the logins and passwords for them. They got an email with their login and password. We had a couple attorneys volunteer to the attorney's office with the public defender to help us test it, make sure everything was working right. Then we set up the clerk's website. I'll show you all of this in a second. The clerk's website as a training tool, so that we frequently ask questions and stuff. I was getting, Adair was getting over 20 calls a day with attorneys asking, how do I do this, how do I do this? They're all asking the exact same questions. So we put them all on the website. We would start telling them, okay, here's your answer, but go to the website and this will help you a lot. Let's see. Now I can talk about it. If you want to show our website first, see there's just Mary. And this is just SanRoseClerk.com. And right beneath here, we did a thing called e-filing court documents. We also created a section, we had an e-portal training seminar not long ago that attorneys were given the option to come to it, and then we had 2.5 CLE credits if they attended it. And we were directing them to come to the website anytime they wanted to see, because we were working on going paperless on the civil side. And we directed them to come here and watch, and then we would let them know as soon as they didn't have to send a paper follow-up. But this is where most of the attorneys are going, the e-filing court documents. This is where all the frequently asked questions are. It tells them what divisions we're taking filing in, which is everything. It's got the links to the login screen, links to some FACC documents and things that will help them set up and go through the process.
Question. If I go to your website today, right now, can I take that training course? Is it still up there? Is it available?
Yeah, you can click here. You can link works. Are you meaning the, well, there's a YouTube video, there's the user documentation, step by step.
The attorney's training course.
No, we didn't report it.
We'll have another training session on August 22nd. Are you local enough that you can travel there?
No, I'm just wondering if you were considering videotaping it and having it available for other attorneys that didn't go to be able to click and watch it and be able to take the course online.
That's a great idea. It is a great idea. We could certainly consider doing that. And we're in a facility on August 22nd where that could definitely be possible.
Now I want to show you all the e-portal section. How we did how we broke down whenever an attorney, I'm logged into this study right now, so let me show you that part. When the attorney logs in, this is what they see. We've directed them that we only do existing and new case filing and subject filing. This is sorry, back here. This is what they do when you first log in. And it takes you already to existing. And it defaults to practice work. They select whatever division, and I'll show you all the circuit. And we put in our case number. Okay, normally it will populate right here with the attorney's names, or not the attorney's names, the defendant's names. I'll list it right here. This is what I want to show you. When they click add a document, these are the document groups we have. We've got broken up this. It's got appeal, discovery, dismissal. For some reason, it's duplicating once in a while. Let's say they wanted to file a motion to propose order. They click motion to propose order, and then they click the document type, and it's got the full list. We've told the attorneys that if there's something they file a lot of that's not on this list, they can call us. It doesn't take us 3 points to add to it. And that was the other thing I wanted to show you is how we actually add code. Sign up and log back in. Sure, a lot of y'all are familiar with this part. On the main screen, I think Laura Campbell's going to show more of this later, but on the main screen, obviously, the administration, we give them the document codes. We're just going to add new. Okay, how it selects whatever division the code is going to be used for.
all right, I was wondering if you should pull the microphone closer to you. I got the trick, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me better now? No? I'll try and lean forward a little bit. Okay, for this screen, you would put the category. So if it was a motion to propose order, we would type that in here. Or if it was just a motion, we would type it in there. This is that first thing the attorney clicks on, where they select what document group they're wanting to look at. Let's just pretend this isn't just motion. Then we would type whatever description to the code. The trick to this is that this has to link back into the Clerk system that we use, our case management system. Every document code in Clerk has a unique identifying code on the table it's completely unique to that code. We take that code to docket ID and we put it in here. That's how it knows that when it comes back in Clerk is what code you use. And then we click new or add right there. Like I said, normally attorneys will call them about 2 or 3 and they hold on the phone and lab, and it doesn't take just a couple minutes. They normally don't mind doing it, and it's grateful that it's there for them.
I am not too short for the microphone. Or too tall. My name is Laura. Through the art of delegation, you're stuck with me. So here I am. Jonathan's going to drive while I talk, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to get in Smart Mesh and navigate, go through the portal from our end. We're operating in our live environment, so I may have to tweak a few things, like where I send a document, because I don't want a judge to sign something that I send him. So bear in mind we're going to do that. So if we don't answer your question, we've left plenty of time for question and answer. If we don't answer a question during the demonstration, please feel free to ask it, and hopefully we'll be able to either show you or tell you. Okay. We knew that if we ever wanted to go paperless, we had to provide the judiciary with tools. Law says we have to. And how do you get buy-in if you can't give them everything that they need? We needed the ability to show them a case on demand. We needed the ability to search the documents faster than an annual court file. How many of you have court files that come back that have little yellow post-it notes all through it because the judge has been marking things? Well, they can do that. They just don't do it on our file. And then I don't have to take them off if I have a public records request, put them to the side, remember where they were, and put them back. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. We also needed a means by which to electronically create, sign, and return judicial documents such as orders, judgments, and other court documents. So we needed to be able to, I don't know if anybody else has them, but I have stacks and stacks and stacks of 2- and 3-part paper that are printed that your court clerks go and they fill out all these things in blank because they have to be able to keep up in court, and they have all these things done, and they use some of them, they don't use some of them, and you have stacks where something changed and now you have to order more. We can do that now electronically on the fly, and it's done, and I will show that to you. The judge's signature is encrypted, it's time-stamped to the second, literally. And we needed to give them the ability to view and group docket entries in a way that made sense to them. Because if we say, Judge, we're going to use this in court, but it's a mess and they can't get to what they need, they're not going to use it. So we made sure that we had something that we could do that. Now, was it for us? There's tons of stuff. How many of you carry buckets back and forth to court? Everybody does, right? I mean, unless you don't take your court file to court for some reason, everybody has buckets and buckets, and they slide off, they land on your foot. You can't get them in, you can't get them out. And for us, we have to actually physically, at the end of each day, we have to load up every case file that we're working on, and if we have a big docket, that means that everything we pulled, so we'd be ready for court, has to go back down at the end of the day. So we haul all these files back and forth, so we are highly motivated. to lose that paper file, as I'm sure all of you are, or you wouldn't be here. And it allows the clerk the flexibility to easily create any template that you need. I had one of my clerks the other day said, Laura, I'm going to give this to the judge, and I said, well, did you do it in Smart Bench? And she said, no, is it there? And I realized that I hadn't put it in there, my bad. But it took me 5 minutes. And it was in there, she was able to send it on up to the judge electronically. And y'all have to remember, I don't know how many of you, we do judge runs twice a day, unless it's an emergency, and then it goes up right now. Okay, you go to do the judge run, you've got all these files checked out, and we take it up to the judge's office, and we knock on the door, and nobody's there. So, what do? We go back down, and then we check back again. So you're constantly back and forth with these files when I can now send something to the judge electronically and not have to call and see if the JA is in the office. So I can send it whenever I need to. If he's out of the office that day, not a problem. I send it up. If he's in the mood and wants to view it from home, he most certainly could. Where was Judge Hilliard working? On I-75 or something? Yeah, he wasn't driving, but he was working on I-75. And we're migrating to this where they can see everything they need to see at a glance, and it's easy to operate, and so they're thrilled, we're thrilled. Let's see. Allows any clerk the ability to create case-specific documents for the judge to sign in court or from chambers. Okay, can anybody imagine the thought of trying to type out an order appointing counsel so that the judge can sign it right then? We can do that. I'm going to show it to you. It's that quick. Hopefully it'll be that quick here. It's that quick at the office, I promise. Allows a clerk to customize their virtual work environment to meet their individual needs depending on their division and duties. Folders, websites, and templates. This is not intended for me to be a training session for Smart Bench. I just want to show you how I use it. And that way you can see how I can customize it for me, but my civil supervisor, she's got a completely different look to hers because she has different needs. I have different websites that I need, different folders that I want to look at, and it's very easy to do. Dramatically improves the speed with which a court document is returned from the court. Okay, I have a clerk who does judgments all day long. That's all she does. She leaves. It's a mail merge. It's checking out the file, getting it up to the judge, waiting for the judge to sign it, send it back. We check it back in, then we send it to a recording, and then we wait for it to come back, and then we scan it in. Am I the only one, or is it something bigger to everybody? That was her job all the time. We were able to get permission from our judiciary. We decided to go with the approach that we would let the judiciary sign things in batch that they were comfortable with. Judgments for court costs, they just sign. Lack of prosecution, sign. You know, they see those come in, and you can hear an audible sigh sometimes. And now, that clerk can take those judgments for court costs, judgments for restitution, all that stuff goes, and it goes to the judge's batch signing folder. The judge, he has the ability to look at it, glance through it, make sure it's what we say it is, and then he hits a button, and it goes back, and it's done. And I'll show you where some that were done yesterday, I have the girls hold off, some that were done yesterday are sitting waiting on it, and they just went up. So there's that turnaround time is dramatically reduced, and the point of that story is the lady that was doing judgments all the time is now doing intake and dispositions and the other things that we have a tendency to fall behind on. All of these things have dramatically improved, our performance in many areas because things get done quicker. It's in your face. It's just done. The obvious, we don't have to store the files. I don't know about y'all, we got a big old archives building that you can actually kind of see the sides of the walls that are bulging out from all the files, and they're not going anywhere. So we keep making more. The physical paper file maintenance or redundancies. I don't know who started it, but we write on the front of our county criminal case files. So we keep a paper file. We write on the front of the file so that there's a nice little summary for the judge. And then we create the actual file that we're maintaining in Clerk. So we do that, and then maybe somebody else writes on the front of the file. And maybe somebody else puts the documents in the file. I kind of have a triple file right now, so I'm very excited. We have high hopes that county criminal will be paperless by 2013, January 2013. I want to start the new year like that with the blessing of our judiciary, we hope. Notice for paper file, let's see, reduction in those redundancies will allow us to do the same work with fewer people. Now, we're not looking to lay anybody off, but people leave. You know, it just happens. So being able to do the job that we're doing now in a new way with less people, especially with the budget constraints that we continue to be faced with, is very appealing. I think that's all we've done, except for, okay. We went ahead and put the, it's going to go away because I'm going to go log in. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have right now conditions where the entire process is paperless, where you're not printing before going to court and sending the judge printouts?
Yes, in a manner of speaking, but as long as I have to maintain that paper file, I have to maintain a mirror image, which means that the things that are filed on the portal are indeed printed, and they are indeed put in the file, because as long as we have the requirement to provide the judiciary with a paper file on demand, I don't want to have to wonder where I am in the file process.
Do you have any judge that has, have you piloted it where there's at least one division where it's completely paperless, there's not one paper going into that courtroom?
Well, yes. We take our paper files as backup, nice little security blanket. I will tell you that as soon as we went live, Judge Hilliard, one of our county criminal judges, he did the entire docket, which was over 100 people, and never touched a single file, and he tells that all the time. And
has it continued?
Yes, absolutely, yes. We also have one of our circuit judges who, I would be afraid to take her a file. If you don't send it through SmartBench to her folder, she's going to tell you to.
She's actually told attorneys, I just don't want to see it unless it comes in the process.
Yeah, so, I mean, we are very fortunate. We have the support, the wholehearted support of our judiciary. We've had the wholehearted support of our state attorney's office and public defender's office, and it's been a wonderful transition for us. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get in SmartBench because I can get to the portal from there, and I'm going to show you our side of the portal for those of you who may be, is everybody filing through the portal in some manner now, or do we have a lot of people who still just aren't quite there yet? Pretty much? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to show you what my day looks like.
While you're getting set up, I'm going to explain. One of the things she said is that they have to take we're in an ancillary building that is a modular building. We've got like 12,000 square feet. That's 14 by something trailers all put together. And we can't leave the files in that facility at night. So that's why every night they bundle up all their work, all their original documents, take them to the courthouse to a file room. In the morning, you see them dragging their buggies back out to the office where they can work. This is critical to us. It's worth whatever we have done to facilitate it. It's that important. We've got files. Of course, I'm going to go into my southern language here. I had a reporter talking to me one day, and I said, we've got files in the archives, we got files in the courthouse, we've got some files down yonder. We got another building, I couldn't think of its name, so I just want to say we've got files everywhere. In about a 2-mile radius, we have files in 3 different buildings. So it's critical that we have some means that when they need something, they can get it right now and not have to wait for it to be brought 2 miles, I'll hush, I just wanted to
No,
explain.
that's wonderful. No. If I get away from Mike, y'all let me know if you can't hear me. Let me start, the way the criminal portal, our filings kind of evolved was a push from the public defender's office for starters. And we just kind of jumped in with both the, Adair's been instrumental in getting all the code set up and making sure that we communicate effectively so that the state attorney's office and public defenders, so we can meet their needs. And the private attorneys are starting to come in more and more frequently. I had one call me the other day and say, you know, I faxed you that, and then I sent it in the mail, and why isn't it docketed yet? Well, I didn't have it. I said, well, did you file it through the portal? Well, no, how do you do that? 15 minutes. Took them 15 minutes from the time that we hung up to register, hopefully read all the documentation, and then file that document. I had it accepted, completed, in Clerk's, and up to the judge before the mail ran that day. So, of course, now I have a duplicate in my file. And the state attorney's office and the public defender's office, they're not, for the most part, they're not sending us anything. Of course, we've gotten approval to discontinue the original filing as a backup. So we get what we get through the portal. I'm going to show you how to, yes ma'am?
What if your mail was already in? Would you accept that case before you processed your mail, or what was on your desk? Say you had work left over from yesterday. So would you process that work before you went to the portal to get that new case or that new filing?
Well,
how would that work?
let me, and I'm not here to set policy for anybody's office. And I'm just a county criminal supervisor, but the way I look at the portal is I treat the portal like I would my front counter. If somebody came in and filed a duplicate filing at my front counter, what would I say? I would say, thank you, have a nice day, is there anything else I can do for you today? And that's how I treat the portal. The only thing I do on the portal is I do it from my desk. And I validate that the information that they put in there, the case number matches the case number on their filing document, and that the document group and the document type match. If they don't match, I have the ability to change them, and periodically we're just going to have to do that, but it sure does beat having to get it in your inbox, docket it, scan it, and and then get it to the file. Because it's already set up for us. The way the portal was set up is very clerk friendly. So it makes our job so much easier. The image is just there. And when I say just there, I mean I finished. I don't have a connection to Clerk, so I can't show you just how quick it is into the case management system. But I can click this, and if I take a good long deep breath, or I do a second filing, by the time I go into Clerk, because that's where I validate, does it match the name that's on my case? Because then I would contact the attorney and say, hey, this name doesn't match this, did you need to file it here or there? Because what good does that document do if nobody can find it because they filed it with the wrong name? So I would extend that courtesy. So I do that, and we imaged everything anyhow. So we do our redactions. If I have an information, I populate the prosecutor field. There are other things. They file an all process. So they would be removed from the docket. We get written pleas of not guilty all the time. I mean, these are the things. These are real things. The things that come in your inbox, we're getting through the portal. And my inbox gets smaller, and my portal filings get bigger. The reason that I only have 4 is because I beg them to save me something to work with. So these are actually filings from yesterday afternoon that I asked them to leave so that they would know which ones that they left behind. We stopped at whatever came in through last night from the time they went home. And what that tells you is that the attorneys are filing after hours. I have a Saturday filer. He does all his work on Saturdays. He files a ton of stuff at one time. It doesn't take me very long to process it. I process it, I print it, I put it in my file because we have the paper file, but I assure you that in January, if we're fortunate enough to go paperless, I won't have to do that part. I'll just do my validation, I'll take care of what I need to take care of, and I move on to the next thing. So this is just win, 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 win for us. It's just been a series, and I'm probably overly enthusiastic. But it's just been so amazing. I really didn't think that this is something that would happen in my time at the clerk's office. So I'm very enthusiastic about it, so I apologize for any over-enthusiasm. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, for those of you who haven't actually worked this is my queue. I'm actually logged in as Jonathan, so it'll be Jonathan's fault if I make a mistake. Because you never let anybody work in your login, right? So.
It would have been my fault anyway.
Yes. Oh, there it is. Okay. What you'll notice about this filing is we group this together. Doesn't everybody get information, discovery exhibit, demand for notice of alibi? They get it all together. What we did was we grouped it so they could do it once. Now, if you have to do 3 different entries or you get to do 1 entry, which one are you going to do? The attorneys file it this way. It's easier for me to process. So before you say no, think about you too. Because you have to accept each document. And they file these as a group because they're always filed as a group. We can find them, we search them. So I've got this, and I am blind, so I can't see my case number. Okay, so I look at my case number, I say, okay, 12648 MM, yes, this is an information. I look, I make sure. How do I scroll, Jonathan? A bar to the right. I am on there.
We're not used to looking at the laptops.
Right there.
Okay, there it is. That's where the magic happens. This is not my desk. Okay, all right, so. See, I knew this was going to happen. This is as big as it gets. It's a nice big wide screen, but I can't get right into it. Okay, so.
You can tell Laura has dual monitors at her desk.
I do. I have dual monitors, and they're fabulous. Thank you, Adair.
You're welcome.
I highly recommend them to anybody doing electronic processing because it does make it infinitely more convenient. Okay, so I'm confident that this is exactly what we've said it is. If it were something like they had filed a motion and they just put motion, I could add additional docket text, but in this particular instance, I don't need to. It looks just like it needs to when we get it in Clerk. So I can now, because my girls have already printed it for me, I can just accept it. I can complete it. And it's on its way to Clerk. Oh, look, more stuff came in. That's the way the portal works. So, anybody want to see it again? Or everybody good? Okay. All right, so that's how we do our part on the portal. Just a simple validation process. Boom, 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 I'm done. I can sit down and do 20 of these in no time.
Can I ask you, is your docket type linked to your Clerk software, or is that something that's available on the portal for any software
That was that code that I put in, that CMS code.
If we have benchmark, are we able to group it as docket type and then have a subcategory of docket codes underneath it too?
Yeah, that's an e-portal option.
Let's assume for a minute that the code, when you went and you looked at those 3 documents, it was not. It was an information, a discovery, and something else.
Yes, and I could have changed it. That's what I was saying is if they make a mistake and they don't put exactly what we need, if they put that it was an all cross and it was actually an information, 2 very different things, we would actually, I have the flexibility to change it. If the case number's not right, I have the flexibility to change it if it doesn't match the document. Because I'm gonna default my case number to whatever that document says it is until they tell me otherwise.
So if it is correct, you don't have to go docket anything.
No, ma'am.
You just docket
No,
it
ma'am.
from their information. Praise the Lord.
Yes, ma'am, in just a minute.
That's wonderful.
12684, Anna, is that what it was? I think so. Yeah, right, would you write that down so I don't forget it? I am getting old. Okay, this is, I went ahead and logged in. It's not hard to log into SmartBench, but just want to make sure we don't have any issues getting in. So I'm already logged in. This is what my dashboard looks like for SmartBench. If you'll look right here, this is my county criminal inbox. That is where all those magnificent things that I said we created get sent back to us. I had one of my clerks leave them in there so that we could see them. So let's go look at one of these.
Is this what Claire said looks like?
No, this is SmartBench. We didn't set up a remote environment to log into Clerk, but I am going to log into CCIS in just a minute so I can show you that that's in there. And it will be, right, Melvin? Yeah. Okay. All right. So these are the judgments that the judge did. And look, yesterday he signed this electronically at 3:34 and 17 seconds. So it's done. So my clerk does what she needs to do and she moves on. Okay. Some of the things that we're able to do, you'll notice I have different things here. Everybody's looks different. It just depends on how you do it. Whatever you need is what you can put on here. In here, I have a folder that has my fine sheets, all my court costs, because I have to refer back to it all the time, and I remember some of them, but there's a lot of them. So I have that at my fingertips because in addition to the fines and distribution chart, I want to have this because this is where we live. So it's one of my folders. So that's what I have. I keep help close by in case I make a mistake. And then I have the ability, I could go here, and I'm gonna open up tomorrow for my judge because I don't want to be in something that he's in because this is law. This is what I would be doing if I was sitting in my office in Milton. So this is his docket for tomorrow, morning and afternoon, and it's a really light docket tomorrow. But this is what Judge Hilliard will use tomorrow to not touch a file, and this is how we get there. So I'm going to go ahead and go into the courtroom because it's a different view. That's the beauty of this, is there's different views. I have this that I can manage because I don't really need to be in a case to know that the judge assigned something that I need to take care of. It brought my docket in again, so I'm going to pick a case. And that's Mr. Tracy's case. He's got court tomorrow. Now, one of the things that we have to provide to the judiciary is a way for them to view the case file. So what I have in here is I have different things. I made this so small. The progress docket with all the filings, and we scan everything, so it's all here. We have the ability to group them by type. I need to see court minutes. I don't care about all that other stuff. If I've got a customer on the phone, I need to see a court minute. I need to see what happened because he's saying something that isn't reflected in the data that I have. So I'm going to go with the court minute. The judge may need to do that too. So he clicks. He can search. He can search everything, or he can just search within the case if he needs something specific. This is our very busy court sheet for county criminal, and it was just like that. And it's actually running a little bit slower here. So he can do all of that. He can look at that. I can look at that. You know, this isn't it. I know that it's a tool for the judiciary, but it's a tool for the clerk, I promise you. The templates that we've been able to create in Smart Bench, like I told you, I was able to create a template in 5 minutes. I'm pretty good in Word, and it used to take me forever to create a mail merge document so that they could use it, so that they could put something in an Excel spreadsheet so that they could combine them. You know, this is a one-stop shop for them for form generation. So what I'm going to do is Mr. Tracy is going to be fortunate enough to be appointed the services of the public defender. So let's do an order of right, counsel. Now, what I did was I just clicked on all my templates. Well, we have, I don't even know how many templates now because we've been very busy. But what I did was I customized a view for my girls so that they could get to what they needed to get to very quickly. They don't need all the DV paperwork and all that other stuff. They need county criminal documents. So that's what I've given them a view for. So they don't have to sort through all that, because if they have to sort through all that, they're not going to use it. If they're not going to use it, then I'm going to have to go order more forms. So I've got the order appointing counsel here. And this is one of those really easy forms that really doesn't require any additional data elements. It's all there. There's not, we're getting the services of the public defender appointed. Now, I did give them a drop down right here, just in case they had to throw something together in case something happened, or they could just type it in if they needed to. I also, in case one of the circuit judges is filling in, I gave them a drop down so that they could pick another judge type. So, boom, boom, boom. I didn't have to touch this really. I'm just showing it to you. So now, and it doesn't even take this long. Now I'm done. I have a document that can be electronically signed and returned to the clerk. Now, because I do a lot of template creation, I have a scribbled signature in here just so that I can apply the signature and make sure that when the judge gets it, it looks like it needs to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign this, and then I'll get rid of it so nobody thinks that I think I'm a county judge. Yep. Okay. Let me send it first, because the judge could create this and he could sign it right then, but if the clerk's creating it, they're going to send it to a folder for him to sign. The judge would have an import signing folder. I'm not going to send it to the judge's import signing folder because I don't want it to be signed accidentally in case Mr. Tracy doesn't want the services of the public defender tomorrow. So I'm going to send it. Yes, I will say that. And this all works very quickly when I'm not talking when I'm doing it. And now, here it is. This would be the judge's signing folder. It's on his courtroom view, so he could see it and he could sign it. So if he signs it, okay. So now it's ready. It looks just like it did. I'm going to apply my signature to it just so that you can see the process. Now, watch. Now it's in my signed documents folder. The judge doesn't have to do anything other than click a button and get out of it. And now it's in the signed documents folder, which I'm told in a month is going to be replaced by a portal filing. That is huge. Because right now, I print it from Smart Bench, and then I scan it and I put it in my case file. But when the judge signs it, I generated it electronically. He signed it electronically, and now Smart Bench is going to allow us to be able to file those through the portal electronically, which means it's going to operate just like the document we just filed through the portal, which is truly paperless. That's the only way. Because if I have to print it, it's not going to work.
So you won't be printing it?
No, ma'am. No, I will only print it until my judges say we no longer require the case file, at which time we will cease. There will be no need. So it will be filed, it will be done. So what that means is my court clerks can create these forms. They can send them to the judge can sign them from the bench. The judge, by hitting the sign button, is sending them back to the portal. The clerk downstairs can work the items that have been signed in court. Oh, how happy my jail's going to be. So those are the things that we're going to be able to process almost immediately. And as soon as we get those filings through the portal, remember, they're going to show up elsewhere. So what I did with my docket view is I have these files just so that you could see them. I also have a couple of handy little things down here. I have my templates that we used. I have access to the portal, and I have access to CCIS. So let's go see if it's there. Now you're on class. It'll be there. It's always there. It's already there. He's already got it up. There you go. Gotta love a man that's prepared. So we'll show it to you. $684 MM. Is that right? What did I put? I can't type. Oh, and then I clicked it. My apologies. Again, no, I can do this. Oh, look, there it is. I never touched it. So that's it. That's how they go. Does anybody have any questions about that?
We're working on that. Yes, we've talked with Melvin, and he has something that we can do, and Clerk is going to do that, and at DMS. That's one of our next
I'm
steps.
sorry, we couldn't get a question. What was the question?
Okay, she asked.
Oh, I'm sorry,
No, go
I
ahead.
interrupted. But one of the next things I think will be a comfort to the clerk as well as the supervisor is you have the court sentencing sheet. There's going to be a point in time that I don't think it's available yet, but as that is filled out, the judge can review it and make sure that it is actually what he said and what he wished and initial it, and it will be, we'll even have that proof in the file that was the actual sentence. And I think that's wonderful. Haven't you ever looked at it and said, well, I wonder, is that really what he said? Did I write it down right? Those kind of things. I think that'll be ideal.
And in the template fields, they're really easy to operate. You can also type within the document. If you have something that's lengthy, if you have something small, it's just as easy to use the blanks that you program when you build the template. But if you need to, you can type all over that document. It's a Word document. And then if something happened and you didn't get something right, or the judge said, you know what, I thought of one more thing. He can go and edit it in Word, and that document is editable until he applies his signature. Once the judge applies their signature, then you can no longer edit it, thank goodness. So, anybody got any other questions?
What was the question about the certifying document if you're a manager?
Yeah, the question was, do we have a way to electronically certify documents?
I think you should tell me about what you're doing with the attorneys and how you're returning the documents to them.
Okay, we have an e-services authorization form, and what we're doing right now is when the State Attorney's Office and Public Defender's Office, whenever they do anything, when we provide something to them, we provide that to them in an email. And everybody's fine with that, and no need for the runner back and forth. They get it very quickly, and as you can see, it's immediately in CCIS. So we provide those to them in an email form. Well, the other attorneys, every one of them that came to the e-filing class that we had, They also got an e-services authorization form, and that form basically allows us to send them everything electronically. And since I can email from Clerk's, all I got to do is hit my email button and it's gone. So every person that we don't have to print out a copy and make an envelope and put it in the mail and hope it gets there, we're that much better off. Anything else? Y'all are a quiet group. Did y'all have good lunch?
Talk a little bit about what you're doing with those orders. When we were doing the CLE that day, we had a college set up, and I didn't know what y'all were doing with that.
I'll let Adair answer that one.
Okay, well, that was a Judge Good move.
It was. That's why I'm going to let you answer it.
Yeah. Okay. We're going, we have the attorneys file motions and proposed orders of any type of what they want to do, and then we put those into Clerk's, pull them over into SmartBench, put the signature on, and then we'll be able to send it straight back into Clerk's and never touch them. Never touch a piece of paper. Is that what you wanted to know?
Yeah, because until we can't touch the paper, we can't be paperless. So we think we're on the path to satisfying the needs of every party involved. Because if it's not win-win, it's not going to fly. But it's win-win. They get what they need, they get it quickly. If they have access to CCIS, they can view it the same day. If they file it through the portal, they can view it the same day. You can go see it as soon as you file it, right, Melvin? So an attorney who files a document, as that makes them the attorney of record in the case, boom, they're done, they can see it. So guess who they don't have to call? So I don't have to send out emails because they can view it. They can go get it. State Attorney's Public Defender's Office, they can see it through CCIS. So all they have to do is log in and see it. And because it's filed through the portal and it's available on CCIS practically immediately, y'all. And I was dragging my feet on that because I was doing something else. It is literally, it takes me a second to go into Clerk's, and then as soon as I go into CCIS, by the time I can get logged in, it's there. Every time. Anybody else? Yes.
This may be a melting question. When we get on Clerk's, SmartBench is not part of Clerk's, right?
It is not. SmartBench is a separate judge viewer application that is its own application, and the only connection is to any CMS would be that the CMS feeds the data into the SmartBench application.
But is it like the chief judge have to approve us if we want to do SmartBench? Does that have to be approved by the chief judge? Or who makes that decision if because that sounds great.
The latest I have seen on this is that the FCTC has created a process by which they're going to set some standards for these judge viewer applications. And the standards have been set. And they have basically let those standards be known, and they're going to certify applications that meet those standards. And then at that point, I think the judges within a county or a circuit would have, an option. Do they want to use those applications or whatever? They would have to play a role in that. In Santa Rosa County, the judges looked at it and they all got together with the clerk's office and all agreed that they were going to use it. That's the only way it really worked in Santa Rosa County. And that's the way it's going to work in most every county, I would think.
Melvin, who bought SmartBench for Santa Rosa?
That's a misdemeanor question.
The clerk did. There's applications really even on our box. We're strung out all over the street there, so it's actually on the box at the courthouse. And they utilize it. I can't get in and mess with their stuff. There's only certain areas that we could go into, as Laura showed you. The other stuff is strictly theirs. We can't get in and do that. And they felt secure in that fact, that we wasn't. But we worked together really well anyway, and we found out this helped us tremendously.
Did you ask them to share the cost?
They are going to share the maintenance. I bought the product, they're gonna do the maintenance.
They also bought the touch screen monitors for all of the judges' benches and the chambers. They have nice 22-inch touch screen monitors that adjust. One of the judges said he felt like he was at the helm of the Enterprise. He was on the bench.
Kind of what it looks like.
But it was just a collaborative effort, really. The software was probably no more than what they'll spend for the maintenance and the screens and all their other stuff.
Well, we did an analysis. We have around 8 of our clerks at this time that are maintaining files, writing on files, pulling for court, and putting case files into whatever process we need to, or our storage type, and then our retention laws and our archives. We figured that there's about 8 of those employees, and the cost of the Smart Bench system was less than 3 of those salaries for 1 year. So when you think about eliminating 8 different FTEs, that's a no-brainer. That's not much of an investment at all.
Well, and I feel like, we're still riding with our training wheels on this thing, and I've already been able to share a story with you of a lady who's already performing another function in my office. And we're not even doing everything on here yet. Can you imagine when we get to a place where we're doing all of these tasks and they're not pulling dockets and they're not filing and they're not misfiling? Misfilings are one of the most embarrassing things that happen in the courtroom, and they're a reality. Filings through the portal, if you did your job when it goes in, you won't have one. They don't exist. And if something is misfiled electronically, you can find it. You can find it through Smart Bench, as a matter of fact. But if something is misfiled in a paper file, good luck. You have no idea. You go to the obvious, and beyond that, you say, I put out a bolo for a document. And we don't have very many misfilings, but when you have a new employee, you have no idea what their filing skills are until you find out how things are misfiled. And it's usually too late.
And when the judge on the bench opens up a file and takes out a misfiling, it's a little embarrassing.
Yeah. So
we've had that happen.
That's, that alone is worth it to me. The idea, it's so mortifying. If you're a court clerk and you've been in there, he's looking at you like you did it. He's not thinking, that some clerk that maybe isn't even here anymore put that in that file. He thinks that you did it right before you walked up. That's what it feels like. So to not have to go through that, and to not have to search for a document that is obviously important or they wouldn't have filed it, it's worth it. It's all worth it. And it's been the transition to the criminal filings on the portal. I'm kind of almost afraid to say it's been painless. It's been relatively painless. We had the temporary inconvenience of the duplicate filings because they would file on the portal and then they were required to follow up with the original. That is somewhat inconvenient, I will tell you. However, what we would do is we would wait because they would come in the same day or the next day, and we would wait, marry them together, and file at one time. Just a little helpful hint. Because otherwise you're filing twice, especially if you're file clerks on top of things. So by doing that, we were able to file it all at one time. Now, when we don't have the paper file, there won't be any of that. And we get very few things from them in paper. I think we figured out we're about 98% with the state attorney's office. Electronic, yes ma'am.
I just have a question, it may be not supposed to, we have to retain these files for a different number of years.
Yes, ma'am.
How do we know that what we do tomorrow, if it's a retention schedule of 7 years or whatever, is still there?
Now that she's talking to you. She asked the long-term question that I think is everyone's concern, and it's not that it's a legitimate concern from someone who's not a computer person, but the long-term retention, that the technology is still going to be viable in that 75 years.
There's some roads we have to keep.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what she's asking.
Well, there's some, if the retention's like 5 or 7 years, if you have it electronically, I hear some officers just, kind of stacking it somewhere, and then they get rid of it after the retention period, they keep track of it that way. But electronically, a lot of people are still, for purposes of total long-term retention, are creating microfilm and that sort of thing as well, or sending it all by getting microfilm as well, for things that have long-term retention. I'm not really an expert on that, but, I listen to some of these sessions and things, and I know people, they're still doing the microfilm for some of the long-term retention, sending it, storing it in our environment, and places like that.
That's what I do in recording. We have images, of course, and I also have microfilm stored. For, if we ever had to replace it, we have a means.
But it's done digitally and not manually through the image.
Or, as we know, which of those cases are closed? Were they physically closed in the court application and it's not been back to mortgage? Or is it vice versa, something the judge has done, some sort of trigger he's done that says he's done this on his docket?
Oh, you mean to work the docket, the court docket? Okay.
Yeah, I noticed it said over 29 cases and 3 legal cases.
Yeah, and I'm afraid to unmark them because they've done their work for tomorrow. I can unmark it and mark it back. But what happens for the judge is in our county, they're going to drive this process. And as they work through a case, we're in this case, but I want to go to the next case. I would mark this complete and I would move to the next case. And then if I hide my completed cases, my docket gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So you know how many cases you have left. So I go to that case, I do what I need to do, I look at whatever I've got to look at, and then I can go and get my next case. And if I completed these cases, they would, if I hide completed, they would be gone. And I guess I can hide them and then.
But if you print another docket, right, does it go to court, or is everybody using this electronic version of the court clerks are using this. Yeah, the court clerks are using this. Now, they have that paper docket because they had to go pull their files, so they got it. Yeah, and we email all that out. It's generated in Clerk, we send it out, and we send it out never frequently enough. But, we send it out several days before court, and then we send again. We send a final docket, which we all know means that it's a semi-final docket, and that's about as good as it's going to get because things change at the last minute. Anybody else? Yes.
Have you had an instance where there was a hearing and the judge was not able to retrieve the electronic file?
Well, if there were a failure of, say their smartphone failed, they just couldn't log on. That image is available to them on CCIS. It's available to Kirkland on CCIS. There are multiple ways to get that data now. They have Clerk login, so they could get into Clerk if that were necessary. But the likelihood of all of them being down probably means I have a day off.
And we're in the process of working up a contingency plan. We didn't say this, but we've only been live on SmartBench for about 2 months, less than 2 months, and e-filing since December 9th. So those are our time periods. We're working on a contingency. Because we don't rely on just the digital for the judges at this time. We will, but there'll be multiple contingency plans.
Yes.
Thumb drives are one. Backing up on thumb drives for the weekly docket.
It's hard to bail out on what you've always done. When it's something so drastic, it's drastic. And it's just something that we've got to be careful in our, when she says January 1st to 13, I think, oh my gosh, okay. Kind of scary a little bit, But I hope we can. Yeah. But we can only back in the First Circuit back 2-3 years ago, every clerk was asked, if a judge asked for a paper file, will you give him that paper file? All of us said yes. So that means even though we may be told,
Absolutely.
when they want a file, guess what? We're going to be copying. We're going to be able to print that stuff off for them. That's what we told them to do.
And that's very easy. Clerk is also, I can pull all the documents. How many of you are clerk? Yeah, I can get all the images in a case file in seconds and group it all together from Clericus.
Our next plans are automating the DEI process, and search warrants, subpoenas, and we're working now with Department of Revenue. Our hearing officer will come on Friday and she'll look at her entire docket through SmartBench, and we're loading her templates now, around 30 of them, so that she can do everything online. When she first started, she came 10 minutes early and then went through her entire docket on SmartBench after a 10-minute training session.
It's really not difficult.
I learned.
Not that I can do it.
Anybody else have any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, you handle civil?
I'm the manager of all courts, but I know a little about civil. I'll try to answer your questions.
Landlord tenant matters, where there's a lot of where people traditionally send in to us a check that the sheriff or whoever serves manages role. But there's documents that go that are money documents or have to be sent to the what do you call it, the process servers. How do y'all handle those types of things where they're, before when we had paper that came from the thing that has to go to someone else outside or a check, we used to stay with the file, then we processed it. When the file came back to the judge or the judge, JA would send out certain documents that came in. How do you handle the paper that goes with the file and with no paper file?
Well, at this time, there are no rules with the FCTC on service. They haven't completed those rules for authority. So we're working that out, and right now it's manual.
Okay,
It's still manual, yes, sir. Especially for pro se. And a lot of that landlord is going to be pro se.
Yes, ma'am.
So Adair, if you get a new case in and they want 5 summons issued, you print them out and then what?
For service, yes, ma'am, we do. We still do that. We still print them out.
And it has to mail them back to you?
What we're doing right now, it's through the sheriff's office. We're working with the sheriff's office with an FTP site, and they'll do it on their end.
Okay.
But if it's with a manual process server, we still have to do that manually.
So what if the attorney says to send the summons back to me, you have to mail them?
We email it. Because we did apply to the FCTC and Supreme Court for all of the other e-processes. We did an e-process application and was approved. We were approved for that on May the 27th. All this is relatively new for us.
Yes. Anybody else? No? Everybody ready to go home? All right.
If anybody has any questions, John, if you could put our numbers back up.
Where is it? Oh, I think I can do this.
Miss Johnson, Laura,
Yeah, I got
Johnson, I will be available. Melvin's always available. If y'all don't know Melvin's number, I'll give it to you. If you have any questions at all, or we could be of any assistance whatsoever, we'd be happy to.
Thank you so much for staying. I know it's been a long few days. I've enjoyed myself, and I've learned a lot. So I hope we were able to help you. If we were, please call me. My name is Laura Campbell, and if not, my name is Jonathan Kirkland. Thank you.